Hello and welcome back to the Ringers NBA Previewpalooza, the unkillable Previewpalooza. We are back for a second day, and we are back to talk about the Eastern Conference. My name is Chris Ryan. This is Jason Concepcion. This is Jonathan Tjarks. This is Kevin O'Connor. Thank you for joining us again. Hit us up with your questions. Hashtag NBA Palooza. Leave them in Facebook comments. Leave them in YouTube comments. Hit us up at Twitter at Ringer. Use the hashtag. We'll be answering your questions throughout this. We're power ranking the NBA's Eastern Conference.
What a great conference.
You know what?
It's very exciting.
It's the conference that might bring about promotion and relegation to the NBA.
I think it already has.
We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to try and make our way through these relatively quickly at the bottom because, you know what, there's not a lot to say about some of these teams, nor are they acting like they want us to say anything about them. So let's start at the very bottom, number 15, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, by the way, just a note on methodology. This is a complicated algorithm that I use to establish these power rankings. They're much like some of the predictive models we used during the election, so I think it's relatively infallible.
Chris surfed the web for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely just Googled NBA. So let's start at the bottom. Atlanta Hawks, number 15. And I'm really doing this because I feel like this is where the Atlanta Hawks want to be. So let's give Coach Bud what he wants. He wants to have a bad basketball team. He wants to get that number 1 pick, right?
Well, you need to do that because this is the last year before tanking reform kicks in. There's going to be a lot of incentive, even more than usual, to tank this year, and it's a good draft class. And also, do you guys like the Little Wing version? Little Wing from Derek and Domino's?
We may talk a lot about classic rock.
Yeah, I mean,
You guys want to hear about how Layla got made? Did you know it was the drummer who wrote the piano part?
Really?
yeah, not a lot to talk about with the Hawks. I saw famed Atlanta sports fan Rembert Brown last week, and I was with him and Zach Lowe. His first question to Zach Lowe was like, Zach, tell me about anybody that's on the Hawks.
And did Zach have an answer?
No, he was like, I don't want to talk about the Hawks.
Kevin,
how
is there
exciting-
anybody to talk about on the Hawks? Is there anybody worth mentioning?
Taurean Prince, DeAndre Bembry, some
Nice.
young guys, but,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, you know, they're not too exciting. Just let them tank and get
Yep.
Luka Doncic or Michael Porter. That's what they should be thinking
Here's the
about
thing
this
I
year.
want to ask about a couple of these teams is, are any of these teams accidentally going to be good? But specifically for the Hawks, is this like a problem where
They have a good coach. They run a good system. But like, I want to watch Bazemore and Schroeder take like 30 shots.
But who's
going to
run the system?
Like
I mean, who's
Splash
going to run the
Brothers.
system is the problem.
Schroeder.
Like
Yeah.
the maestro?
And who's, you know, isn't he going to be suspended to start the
I
season?
think that's like, it's not going
Yeah.
to start out well. It's not going to end well. All right, so the Hawks. Let's just move on. We can go to the next team. If you have questions, hit us up. Hashtag NBA Palooza. Leave comments in Facebook or YouTube. Now, this is one of the teams that now, in retrospect, I think I might have ranked a little low, and it's the Brooklyn Nets. Now, be that as it may, sometimes I wonder if there wasn't a basketball internet, would anyone talk about the Nets? Like, are we overrating the Nets just because we find them as an interesting project?
I don't think so. Like, their backcourt is truly interesting. They have some nice players. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is nice. LeVert is interesting. I think they can win like 30-something games, 31 games.
Is that high for the Nets?
I think they will miss Lopez a lot. If they could find some shooting up front, they have a lot of good guards, but right now it's like Mozgov and RHJ up front. So everyone's going to pack the paint on them. But I think that tells you like the importance of basketball internet.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Nets. Like that's why we exist.
It's
right?
Kuzma, it's the Nets,
If Jeremy Lin didn't get hurt last year, let's be serious, they would not have had worst record. They
Okay.
would have, because Jeremy Lin helped that team a lot when he was playing. And now they added D'Angelo Russell, who I think is going to have a really good year with the
people are
opportunity
pretty high on
provided.
Russell. They're pretty psyched about like what he might be able to do in a new situation away from the LA and kind of having his own team to run. This is a second chance for him for sure.
It's a good system for him, too. Like, Kenny Atkinson has really installed the foundation for what could potentially someday be a good team. I mean, they've been
there's
running
the
modern-style
encouraging thing.
threes and layups, a lot of ball movement. They could be fun to watch, actually.
So there's this whole thing where when a guy gets hired who works for either Popovich or the Hawks, everybody's
Great
like,
hire.
great hire.
Yeah.
Great hire.
Great job, guys.
But I have to say something.
Jacques Vaughn,
We
great
watched Sixers Nets in Uniondale, Long Island. On a weird Russian stream the other day to like a preseason because I wanted to watch Embiid, so we were
You
hanging
were
out.
in Uniondale?
No, I was watching it on a Russian
Okay,
stream from
yeah.
Los Angeles because we couldn't get like the regular TV to work, and they had Yes Network or whatever was showing a Nets practice, and Kenny Atkinson was out there, and I was like, where do I give Kenny Atkinson my money?
He's
Who do I
awesome.
make the check payable to for him to invest my life savings?
He was really important in the development of Jeremy Lin during Linsanity.
Yeah.
He's just really good with young players and bringing the best out of young players.
Point guard whisperer. So watch out. D'Angelo Russell could be.
And also, like, Jeremy Lin, who would have had Jeremy Lin and Derrick Rose as the two players with dreads in the NBA?
Kevin, Scotty Diggs on Twitter wants to know D'Angelo Russell for most improved player.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I'd say he's definitely one of the top choices that you would make if you're placing a bet now. He's definitely top 3 for sure. I think that system for him is going to be awesome.
Okay. If you're placing a bet on most improved player, you need some help. Like that.
Well, we've got several people on
I
staff
bet
who might be doing that.
all the degenerates
I'm
on our
just here
staff
to
is
tell
just like,
y'all.
oh man.
We got
Tjarks just
that is some low stakes. Most improved player.
Let's move on to number 13, the Orlando Magic, who I also think might be ranked a little low here. Because, wait, can I ask really quick the most important Magic question?
Yeah.
Have you sold your Hazonia stock?
Woody, I sold it 6 months ago. I sold it 6 months ago when I saw him catch the ball, dribble the ball off his foot, and then get put on the bench after
What an
45
amazing,
seconds.
what was that? His Vegas Summer League where he dunked once, and then I think he went to play for Croatia and had a really nice Eurobasket or something like that. Wasn't there one summer of Hazonia?
Well, I guess before he was in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even then, he still only played 13 minutes per game, and that was always the thing. It was always about potential with Hazonia.
Right.
And I fell in love with his potential, but it has not translated at all.
Sometimes I
Not even a little
can't
bit.
remember you read so much about basketball online that you will see something and you just blink and don't even know if it was real. Did somebody say that Hazonia was going to play some 4 this year?
Why not?
Why not?
small
You
ball.
say that?
You
Why
love
not?
small
I was gonna say I want to see Orlando and Brooklyn go all they suck anyways. Play RHJ at the 5.
Yeah.
Play
Yeah,
Aaron,
just
play
do
Aaron Gordon
stuff.
at the 5. Who cares?
Nobody over
Honestly.
6'8".
Especially Orlando, it's their roster is insane.
Yeah.
It just makes zero sense. They have no shooting at all. Just do weird stuff.
Jonathan Isaac, kind of the forgotten guy of the lottery, maybe not getting as much of a cult following as some of the other players. Do you think he has a lot of potential?
I'd love to see him play 5-2. The funny thing about Orlando, the 2 guys that kept are Vucevic and Payton, the worst 2 possible players. We gotta keep these guys. Everybody else can go.
Yeah.
I gotta have a center who doesn't play defense, poker doesn't shoot. I gotta have it.
Peyton's shown some flashes, though. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, last year he had a streak where he was terrific, and maybe that's just a flash, and that's it. But if Orlando sees that this season, maybe we're talking about him as their point guard of the future. Who knows?
We are watching the NBA Previewpalooza. I'm joined by Jason, John, and Kevin. We're talking about Eastern Conference Power Rankings, and if you have questions for any of these guys about any of these teams, hit us up. The hashtag is NBA Palooza. You can also hit us up at Ringer or in Facebook or on YouTube. Surprisingly, a little bit it's crickets out there for the Eastern Conference. But we can
Get those Magic takes in, guys.
Yeah,
Can Aaron Aflalo turn around the Magic season?
Is Aaron Aflalo back on the
He's
Magic?
on the Magic. Yes, he is. Taking Mario's minutes, actually.
Is that did he sign a contract with Adam Silver where it's every 2 years I cycle back through Orlando? What's going on?
They're probably going to sell tickets. If Fallon's back in town, let's
Well, because you could go back and you have all those old Aflalo jerseys and they're like, yes, this
on.
is back in style. Jason.
Yes.
Number 12. The New York Knicks.
Oh,
Is this low? Is this too low?
No, I think that's about right. They've looked really atrocious in the preseason. They've been getting outscored by 1 million points. Porzingis was negative 20 in a game. He's their best player. Their point guard rotation is
Man, that is a bad.
What is
their
it?
point guard rotation is Frank Ntilikina, who's been injury prone and is not ready, but has a lot of potential. Trey Burke, who is not good and has proven to be not good and is a fringe NBA player at best. Jarrett Jack, who didn't play for 13 months.
Didn't Jarrett Jack tear his Achilles consecutive seasons?
Yeah, I mean that. And
played
when
2
God
games last
God
year.
tries to give you a message, you should listen. and Ramon Sessions, who is 6 years washed now and was a bench guy when he was good.
He will
You
play
just
for every
named
team in
3
the
guys.
league.
I was
Ramon
that
said.
dude is for sure
Yeah.
out of the league, right?
Ramon has 13 jerseys of the teams he played for. It's incredible.
versus
He's
the
like the
Flalo.
Joseph of the Technicolor Dream
Ramon
Club.
Sessions is. Mike D'Antoni was like, man, if we can get Ramon Sessions. This was in the Mike D'Antoni era. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
And Ron Baker. Sorry.
Ron Baker, give me a reason to be hopeful for the Knicks. They're not running the
Kristaps
triangle?
Porzingis?
Yeah, but they're not running
that's
the-
literally
yeah.
about it, though. I mean, but isn't that like really all that matters is his development this year?
Yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
his development is interesting because I think will we find that the safety blanket of some of the guys that they had on the team, like Melo, I know that they didn't gel, but like it's a lot of attention on Kristaps now. Like he'll be the guy, he'll get everybody's best defensive effort. Everybody's going to know he's the number one option.
Sure.
Yeah.
It could be a tough year for him.
I think you need that, though, if you're Kristaps. Like, you need that pressure. You need that challenge in order to really elevate your game to the next level. And will he be able to do it? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think we all look at him and project him as a cornerstone player, but this is really the year where we're going to find out if he's actually able to take a couple steps towards that label.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, Joel Weyrauk, hope I pronounced your name right, buddy. Is there a single person on the Knicks who can beat a defender on the perimeter?
Wow.
THJ,
good question.
all he can do is get shots up.
He's like a straight line. He's like a straight line fast break player. He can't really take somebody off
can't
the
make his
dribble.
own
He's definitely the best candidate, though.
Yeah, he's definitely the best.
So that's a no.
So I'll go no.
What's your favorite Hendrix album?
Electric Ladyland.
Me too. Electric Ladyland, by far.
Okay, so Hornacek for the whole season, you think he makes it?
Yeah, he's really coaching for his job, which is terrifying because they should tank. So.
Well, also, they'll fire
Knicks.
him next year, and they'll blame the new coach. Oh, we have a new coach. Like, he'll be this kicker after this season.
Okay.
So one more year, then they fire him.
Yeah.
All right, well, at number 11, I have the Chicago Bulls.
I can't believe they're that high.
Yeah,
Even
they gotta
in the
be-
East,
they gotta
that's-
come down.
That's
So,
bad.
but
They
who
gotta
would you
come
put
down.
above the Chicago Bulls?
I think
I put
all
the
the teams
Knicks-
we talked
yeah,
about.
the Knicks and
Do
the
you think
Nets.
the Bulls are going to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd put
Knicks and the Nets for sure,
Every
yeah.
team we already talked about.
Everybody on social agrees with me. Do you guys remember Ryan
read this
Archie-Dinakino?
read this roster.
is insane.
This is not a G League roster.
Do you guys remember Nova? Come on, man. Ryan's there. Okay, Ryan Archie-Dinakino, Chris Dunn, Kay Felder, Cristiano Felicio, Jerry and Grant, Justin Holiday, Zach LaVine, I'm not even sure if he's healthy, Rolo, Markkanen, Mirotic,
Oh man.
Campaign, Quincy Pondexter, Bobby
Campaign.
Portis, Denzel Valentine, and Paul Zipser!
Zip.
Boy, I feel that it's like
Zip it
knocking
up.
on the door of the playoffs. Come on.
Pondex hasn't played like in 5 years.
Yeah.
So, this is the worst team in the Eastern Conference. I apologize.
Kay Felder made famous for being on the Cavs when LeBron was like, "We need playmakers on this team."
Also, being short of Isaiah Thomas.
They ignored him.
and they totally ignored him.
Okay,
And he's
so
5'9" like
let me
Isaiah
make the
Thomas.
case here. Fred Hoiberg finally gets to run his stuff. The Cyclone, just
man.
the mayor, just a little bit of that Iowa State magic in Chicago. A couple of guys having second chances in their careers. Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, out from under
Chris
Tibbs.
Dunn's second chance.
Come on, Chris Dunn could be
second
good.
year.
If
Second
Chris
year,
Dunn
second
scores 9
chance.
points a game, he'll be fine. Marketing can't be that bad, right?
That'd be decent.
Yeah,
So this team sucks, though.
this
Yeah.
team is bad.
I just want to see Levine play. At least the Levine's gonna be fun to watch. Until he
Yeah.
gets back, they're unwatchable.
Let's check and see how social media feels about how I feel about the Bulls. Mario on Facebook says Bulls should be lower than BK in Orlando and Orlando IMO.
Yes.
Dante on Facebook, the Bulls have 0 NBA starters. How are they not bottom 3?
Hold on.
Dante, come on, man. Be subtle.
Lopez is a fringe starter in the NBA.
Robbie Belden says the Bulls' best player is Robin Lopez.
Yes,
How
and
have
they
they
do.
not been mentioned?
Fringes.
And Coey Jupes on Twitter doesn't oh, that's a Knicks question, so for never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't Porzingis alone make the Knicks better than
Yes.
the Bulls?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's fair.
I think Garpax are watching this right
Hernan
now,
Gomez.
loving you, Chris.
Those two make it better.
Garpax, I'm available. If you guys want to hire me as like a consultant.
Garpax, I don't even watch the internet. They're strictly they're VHS. And they barely have cable.
Well, I know one of them has a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Just walking by, saw me scrolling.
I guess
burner
I just
account.
thought I had heard some good things about how the Bulls were playing the preseason and that their offense is moving the ball a little bit. I heard
Great.
some good things.
Well, it better
Saw it on
Boris
a
is gonna
Russian
stick
stream.
on that team.
I know, like, who's the ball hog on that
You did
team?
hit on a good point, though. Hoiberg is going to get to install his system with
Yeah.
a young team. So, like, that's
Yeah.
why it was smart. That's why it was smart they kept him for at least another year, just to
Yeah.
give him an opportunity.
Just to help him
with
recruit
a
in
young
college
team.
next year.
Right. It's like
just
trying to
doesn't
install like Windows 11 on like a Pentium 3.
work. Nice, nice. That's good.
Let me move on to number 10 here, and that is the Indiana Pacers. Also, maybe ranked a little. Oh. That was the sound of Jason Gallagher just deflating a balloon.
It would have looked really cool on the camera, unfortunately. It didn't work out.
I noticed on the other day that the Pacers made a late offseason acquisition to shore things up, and they signed Damian Wilkins.
Wow.
They kept the 37-year-old washed-up guy
Hold on.
a young
Kevin's been teed up for a Wilkins
to
take.
develop.
Who did they drop? Or they just
Ben Moore.
SMU. Pony
A
up.
guy, now they're going to put him in their affiliate in the G League. A guy who has a chance to become an NBA player. And now anybody can sign him. So I understand bringing in a veteran, but I think that speaks to like a disconnect with what they should be focusing on, which is tanking and drafting and developing. And then adding a 37-year-old
Is that
guy.
Nate
It's just
McMillan saying,
odd.
"I'm begging you, please give me a veteran"?
I mean,
One of his friends. They coached Wilkins back in the day.
Yeah.
And,
Guy I can drink with.
and that part makes sense, right? Like they're having a friend. I think Earl Watson on the Suns has that with Tyson Chandler as well, where having that connection can help you kind of bridge the coaching staff with the locker room. But at the same time, like, come on, man. 37-year-old guy over a young rookie that has a chance to be pretty good.
That's
Just
pretty
blows my
dope, though,
mind.
to just be like, I'm such friends with this guy
Yeah.
that I'm going to get on a roster.
Yeah, that is cool.
Well, it's like Amir Johnson. They got
Here's
$10
what's
million
not cool.
to bring a good guy.
Yeah,
all these
that's a good
teams.
one.
Yeah, these teams are.
This is like
Miles Turner's
talked
fun.
about.
Yeah.
Miles Turner's
Yeah.
cool. We've talked about 6 NBA teams, and they all suck. Like they are really bad.
Eastern Conference, baby.
Well, we've spent this entire season being like, we've been really worrying over, like, aside from everything that's happening off the field, there's been some quality of play issues with football, obviously a lot of major injuries to major players, and there's a lot of, like, hemming and hawing about, like, the state of football, but, like, come on, man, like, these guys got to play every night. Like, these...
But we don't have to watch them, though. I feel like it's not a big deal.
This is part of, not to blame the Warriors for everything, but, like, you know, the Warriors created a super team dynamic where if you're in a certain age range, you got to join up with other players. And with the incentive to tank this final year, it's like it's created this extremely top.
But see, I like that. I like top-heavy bottom. I wouldn't watch these teams. What's the difference?
There's almost
My
like
job is to write about
there's
basketball,
nothing
like-
punitive happening to these teams for being this bad. Like looking
Yeah,
at
they
these
lose a lot of
rosters,
money. They're not
looking
gonna
at like
win
how
other
we're,
games.
yeah, but we're laughing about this. Like it's almost embarrassing.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't
I mean,
care? It's like six
really don't.
teams
I
right here.
think I don't know if all these teams are going to tank. Like you mentioned, like at the bottom, we're going to have a lot of teams tanking. That's not necessarily going to be the case. I mean, if they tank, it might not happen until March.
So
and April.
Atlanta, Brooklyn, Orlando, the Knicks, Bulls, and Pacers. Who shouldn't be tanking there?
Brooklyn, because they have no pick.
Okay,
Yeah.
Brooklyn's
That's
going to go for it.
You know, I would say all of them maybe should think about it,
Right.
but it's about the timing of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you still need to focus on developing your guys, and that's really important, installing that kind of winning culture, right? But at the same time, like, come on, man, you got to get that top pick. There's 4 or 5 really good players that could help change your franchise. 4 years from now, when the Warriors are starting to decline, that's what you need to be timing your rise
Well,
for.
I think a proper tank, you know, if you look at the way the process was done, it's like, okay, install your system, support your coach and his staff 100%,
Yeah.
play your young guys, and just don't worry about the results, worry
Yeah.
about the process, and that's like the process.
Yeah, but even in the even with the process, which is held up as this, like, look what they got: Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, and Joel Embiid. That's what you do this for. Still cost Hinkie his job. It's it's like there's always collateral damage
Yeah.
to these things. Unbelievably, we have some Pacers questions. Rumblin' Roberto says, Turner will have a better season than Porzingis this year. Thank you for waking us up with some takes.
That wouldn't stun me.
It wouldn't stun me either because like,
he might
who's-
play more games.
I mean, honestly, like it would not stun me. The games thing, the guard play is an issue.
Yeah, he'll have an actual point guard in
Yeah,
Indiana.
like who's running pick and pop with Porzingis?
Yeah.
No one.
Turner's
So-
the guy for most improved player of the year.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
would
good-
not
that's a
shock
good
me.
pick.
Yeah.
MC Boat 1003 on Twitter. How worried should I be about the Pacers being too good in this dumpster fire of an Eastern Conference?
I think you should be worried, especially when they keep a 37-year-old Damian Wilkins.
It's not even like-
I think it's a sign
they have
that
like
they are
5 or
kinda
6
trying to win.
decent vets who can win get like 35 wins.
And they don't unless they want to trade Turner. They do not have any assets to trade, and they are not a free agent destination. So it's
we
just
haven't even mentioned Victor Oladipo.
You know, they do have Al Jefferson,
could
though.
step up this year. You never know.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
Depot.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
I'm all in on the Pacers.
the thing is like
Chiefs
Debo-
are in the middle.
This is really it's a great. It's good that we mentioned Devo because this is like the season where you want to see
Yeah.
you want to see some kind of growth from his game.
I mean, he's going to take a lot of shots.
He put up pretty good per 36 numbers in the preseason. I know per 36 can be shaky, but
Yeah.
it's a sign that maybe
As a
increased
Joel Embiid
opportunity.
fan, let's just go with first 36.
Well, I will say Indiana, in their defense, they're very good at finding players in the middle of the draft.
Yeah.
Paul George, Miles Turner.
Yeah.
So if they go finish 8, they might find a good player.
You can't survive on that, though, I don't think.
They built a team on a championship on it.
I love that Damian Wilkins' name now is officially first name 37-year-old, last name Damian Wilkins.
Okay, so just to recap, and you can hit us up with questions about these teams on hashtag NBApalooza on Twitter. You can hit us up on Facebook and YouTube. You're watching the NBA Previewpaloozas, and we're talking Detroit Pistons.
And now we're into the actual basketball team.
Yeah, and you know what?
Here we go. Let's talk basketball.
Now I feel revitalized. The Pistons coming in with Reggie and Andre again. They lost some guys. This is a very important season for Stan Van Gundy and his experiment. There's a couple of guys like Stan where I kind of feel like, you know what? They had this rep, Tibbs, Stan, guys who were just like, as like masters of
Right.
But the basketball has changed slightly over the last few years.
And
I
also
think,
like Coach GM thing. They
Yes,
had this
that's
rep,
it.
and they were like, oh, look at their geniuses, give them all the power.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
tough. All that power, man.
It was not that long ago that seemed like the movement in the NBA. Like combined coach GM, give them the power, let them have the power of the
and because
roster.
everybody thought, pop, it works for.
Put the entire system in.
But yeah.
It's not smart.
And it just is
really has not worked at
frayed.
all, yeah.
And Stan Van Gundy is one of the last guys standing and is on shaky ground for sure. Is feuding with his players. Has never had that great a relationship with his players historically over the course of his career in different teams.
Yeah.
It's just
And there's
tough.
a couple of pretty. There's not prickly characters as much as it's guys who I think might be bristling under Stan.
For
Drummond, Reggie,
Yeah.
Avery in a contract year, right?
Kevin, I'm curious about that. Do you think he can be any better than he was last year in Boston in a bigger role?
I think he can get like more volume, but I'm not sure if he's going to become a more dynamic player. But with that said, he has kind of improved his ball handling each year, so we'll see if that translates.
He will
for
get
him.
a lot of chances to run the offense.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Stanley Johnson, any room for improvement there?
I still believe in Stanley. I don't get up on him
too.
yet.
No, you guys,
I'm not giving up yet.
you guys are sitting on a pile of Stanley Johnson stock.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. Detroit was the number 9 team.
And
so
here we
that's
go.
All the teams
Chris
outside.
Ryan.
Let me work my way into it. Let me build up to it. 9 through 15, just to recap. Detroit, 9. Indiana, 10. Chicago, 11. New York, 12. Orlando, 13. Brooklyn, 14. Atlanta, 15. I have been suitably reprimanded for not having Brooklyn higher since they were going to be playing. They don't have a pick to play for, so they're going to play their butts off.
Right.
8 seed
Here
in the
we
Eastern
go.
Conference.
The dream. The dream was alive.
Philadelphia 76ers.
Man,
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
this is a fascinating team to talk about.
Yeah.
On the one hand, the potential is off the charts.
Yes.
Off the charts.
Yes.
On the other hand, a lot of these guys have not played a minute of NBA basketball and have troubling injury histories.
Yeah.
Troubling, yes, to
And
say the least.
like addictions to fast food and rework their free throw shots for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of stuff to look at here. And they have Jaleel Okafor who's a vegan now.
Yeah?
Or vegetable diet. What is it?
I think it's vegan.
Vegetable guy.
Like, vegetable diet. It's like I really like burgers, but I'm on this vegetable diet. No, so the Sixers. I mean, we've talked about the Sixers over and over again. Everything depends on Embiid, but Embiid is on the court. They are.
Embiid is amazing.
Let's say 50 games over under. What are you taking?
Under.
Under 50?
Under.
I'm going to say over with a lot of eyes on his minutes. What do you think?
I'm going over. But that's my heart speaking.
Yeah,
with
so
the
let me
over,
ask
yeah.
you guys. I think what Hinkies, and I wrote about this when we did the best case, worst case bit on theringer.com. You should check those previews out if you get a chance. But what Hinkies' idea was that, you know, when you see these teams that get to 55 wins, which is what you want to get to be one of the best teams in the league, they don't usually go up 5 games a year. They
Right.
make a big leap, like that Thunder team that went from what was like 28 to 50 or something like that. And I think that was his vision for this team, that you put together these elite players, they gel at the right time, and you make this huge leap. Is this the year for that huge leap?
I mean, we debated this on Court TV.
Yeah.
And
That's coming out next, right?
Yeah.
So plug.
And I think, look, they're going to be great someday, Chris, like we talked about. But right now, there's just too many questions with that team where, yes, I do think they're going to get the 8 seed. They're my prediction for that spot. But at the same time, like, I think for them, you're still focusing on development. You're still hoping Ben Simmons is able to score in the half court.
Right.
You're still hoping Markelle Fultz can translate his shooting and fix his shooting for him. You're still hoping Embiid can stay healthy. You're still hoping Robert Covington can get back on track shooting the three-pointer.
Oof,
Like last year,
man.
his numbers were down. There's so many questions where it's just like, yeah, maybe they slip into that 8 seed, but at the same time, they could still be pretty
But
bad
is
again.
Jaleel the mole the other thing? How much will that
Also,
affect the team?
what hand does Ben Simmons brush his teeth with?
He definitely his right hand. 100%.
I actually, you know what? I'm
100%.
tired of the Ben Simmons stuff. I'm actually legitimately
100%.
excited to watch him. Those great passers like that are my favorite thing about the NBA. I'm going to ask a couple questions from social. Dan Keene on Facebook. I love how no one ever talks about what could happen if everything actually goes right for the Sixers. So let's say all this stuff, the reverse of what you said. Ben Simmons is a decent shooter. Fultz turns into young James Harden. Jaleel plays 60 games. JJ Redick is amazing. Amir Johnson is like, what ankle problems? I got you.
Maybe 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah.
Seriously, like that's their upside.
That's the ceiling.
Because Embiid, if he plays like 75 games and he's the guy that we saw last year projected to more minutes, he is the best big man in basketball.
He's a freak. Yeah, he's an absolute freak.
And who's stopping him in the East?
Right.
Nobody.
Jimmy Payne on YouTube. How much does Fultz really have to contribute? Seems like an added bonus if he develops this year.
I agree.
Yeah, bring him off the bench, right?
You can't expect a lot from rookie point guards.
William on YouTube with his recent comments about feeling left out and doing his own thing. Is Embiid the next Andrew Bynum? Come on, son.
No. Wow.
Who said that?
Like building
William Bezos, I
gaming
like it.
PCs and wearing like really bad like
Come
loafers.
on, that's a terrible
That would be a
comment.
fun conversation to listen to, actually. Bynum and Embiid talking, I don't know,
Gaming PCs?
computers, whatever. Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. That's the Sixers. They're at the 8 seed. 7 is Charlotte. Charlotte, you know, I think Justin Verrier called them like the 70-degree day or something like that. Like, it was like, but you know what? I did watching them a little bit in preseason.
Sure.
Especially against the teams that are also in the Eastern Conference, you can just tell this is just like a well-coached team that knows what they're doing.
I think it's just a little low for them, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think they could be higher than this?
I think I'd move them above Miami.
I mean, it depends on whether Batum is healthy.
Yeah.
Well, to me, the hard thing is the Dwight fit. Does he really fit
Yeah, that is.
with Zeller really
Well,
fit
cancer
their team
fits in
last
any
year?
in any big.
I mean, he is definitely.
That's the question.
There's no.
in any locker room.
There's no more like we're just whispering about this. Like Dwight has literally been ostracized from every team he's been on. You know, and he drives guys nuts.
And here's the thing, I'm not even worried about that so much. It's like, can he be a small ball 5? Like in the pick and roll, the double Kemba, Dwight gets the ball top of the key, what's going to happen? Is he going to make a good pass or a shot? Probably not, right? That's Zeller's role in that team.
It's also like we've come to the stage of Dwight's career where it's like, where he's on the team where it's the coach who helped him early in his career, and that's like absolutely the last chance.
Yeah.
That's the last chance you have to be like a real player in the NBA. And they're like, well, this guy, when he was with him, he was kind of good that one time. I don't know.
It would be amazing if this is the year it finally clicks for Dwight, where he's more willing to give up the post-ups, just playing the pick and roll. He gives it his all on defense consistently every night. Like he could be really good still, but we just haven't seen it. There's no evidence.
Physically, he looked really good in the preseason stuff that I watched. I would also say that this is probably low-key my favorite backcourt in the Eastern Conference.
Kemba's nice.
Kemba's nice.
Oh, Malik.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know
Don't
them-
tell
I-
Tate Frazier about this.
Yeah, I know. I'm very, very, very into Malik Monk. So I'm very excited to watch these two guys play together.
Kemba's low-key underrated.
All right.
Anytime I played the Hornets, I'd have like one guy on the bench whose job is to yell at Dwight, like, get that ball in the post. You, like, no one can guard you.
Just have your 5 tell
Daily
Dwight that. Be like,
affirmation.
Dwight, I cannot guard you.
I cannot guard
Like,
you in the
never see you
post.
the
Like,
ball.
I'm so glad they're not giving it to you down there because I can't deal with you down there.
So Philly at 8, Charlotte at 7. Number 6, the Miami Heat, who doubled down on a bunch of guys
Triple
who were
down.
playing for contracts. Now they got Dragic, they got Whiteside, they got Dion got paid.
Oh, yeah.
So they
man
basically
Kelly
had
Olynyk.
a great second half of last season. The question is, does that translate into the first half of this season? Kevin,
Which
what do you
team
think?
is it?
Probably not that hot of a streak for them, but I think they're going to be good. They're going to be a competitive team. They have so much talent up and down their roster. I think Hassan Whiteside, really having Olynyk spacing the floor for him, could open some things up at the 4. James Johnson is terrific within his role.
Yeah.
Dragic, the way he ended that season was amazing. Maybe Justice Winslow.
I think that's the guy. To me, he's the question.
He
mark
can
that
elevate
team.
them.
So who
Or
is the
drop
guy
it
who
down.
takes
Drop
the
it
shot at the end of the game? Is it Dragic?
Yeah, it's Dragic.
I mean, Dion definitely is like
Dragic is the guy who will initiate whatever happens for sure. Like, I think it's Dragic.
You know, I bet when Dion did his contract, he actually tried to negotiate into it, like, I take the last shot. And Riley was like, sure, cool, here, just use this pen, and it's like invisible ink. And they just like waited it out afterwards.
Winslow is really interesting because they got good right when he went out.
Yeah?
So it's
That's what, because he can't shoot, and so
Yeah.
that changed the whole team getting him out of there.
Joshua Bolton on YouTube says the Heat are going the 04-07 Pistons route. There will be a year where they can sneak through to the ECF or finals, and then they'll have to blow it up. That's an interesting
Blow
projection.
it up.
Is this a blow it up candidate?
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Not
There's so
really.
many bad teams ahead of behind them, right? You blow it up, you're still like the 11th best team in the East.
Number 5 is one of the more interesting teams in this conference because we have been waiting for it to really happen for them.
Oh, it's Milwaukee.
And this is the Milwaukee
This is me
Bucks.
all in.
Right.
All
Yeah.
in.
Really?
They're going to be great.
Okay, so give me your elevator pitch about why that's going to
Okay, Giannis will be better. Giannis, second best player in the East
happen.
already.
Swole Giannis.
Yeah.
Swole Giannis.
Yeah, he got
He's
really
looking pretty
diesel.
swole right here. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And Chris Middleton, a year healthy with him. He only played 29 games last year. Chris Middleton is he'll be an all-star this year in the East for sure. Those two guys alone, 1-2 combination. Maybe, I think best combination in the East, 1-2. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Best 1-2 combination in the East, Giannis and Middleton. Don Maker, a year better, 3-and-D center. Malcolm Brogdon, a year better, 6'5" point guard. I think they got a lot of good pieces. I like them a lot.
Better than LeBron Love and Kyrie Hayward?
I'm going to say better than LeBron Love, yes. I'll take Middleton or Chris Love.
Is it
Ever
weird
Kevin
that
Love.
you like to say Kyrie Hayward? It's like, isn't that a strange...
It's weird saying Paul George, Carmelo Anthony,
I know,
Russell
yeah.
Westbrook. It's
Yeah,
weird saying Chris
really
Paul,
is
James
bizarre.
Harden. It's a weird league.
One thing I wanted to ask is, Jabari didn't get his extension on the rookie scale, his
Yeah.
contract on the rookie
Yeah.
scale. Any worries about Jabari on that team? Is Jabari could they
I
trade
think
him?
getting him back in the mix could be tricky. Like, because they really worked without him last year.
Yeah.
The team was a lot better once he got injured. So that'll be interesting.
Do you
to see
still
how that
have
goes.
like some high hopes for Jabari, or do you think his game just doesn't?
I think his game is really good offensively. I think he's continuously built on what he was at Duke. The question is, can he stay healthy? Can he play defense?
Yeah.
Will he
Same
rebound?
knee, two ACLs.
That's very,
Yeah,
in,
no,
in like
that's-
18
that's
months or
scary.
whatever it was. It's like
But
not great.
he's no doubt a talented scorer, and he's important for their future.
And to me, like, the five they have without him makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
So you have Brogdon, Snell, defenders, Middleton, Giannis, the playmakers, Thon, the five. That's
They
just a
can
great
blot
five
out the
right
sun
there.
with that kind of
Yeah.
lineup.
He's still,
I mean,
he's still need
that's-
more than 5, though. And Parker is a guy, even if he's your sixth man,
He'd
can
be
light
an
it up
amazing
off the
sixth
bench.
man for sure.
I wonder if you would be able to. I wonder if you'd be willing to do that. Jay on Twitter, if the Bucks are making a run near the deadline, who could they look to acquire, knowing they will have Jabari coming back?
Is Jabari the trade piece? Are we
I mean, I
talking
think
here?
knowing that Jabari's coming back, but like in general, like if the Bucks are, above Toronto and Washington in this scenario, maybe they're they're in the third seed and they're really liking what they have. Who's a guy that they might go out looking for?
You know, it's funny, like, well, you look at their roster, I wonder, what exactly would you target? Like, what do you need? I mean,
Point guard depth.
point guard depth, but is Giannis your guy?
Giannis is
Or
your
are you
guard,
comfortable
point
with
guard.
Malcolm Brogdon? Do you want a center or no? Because, like, you like Greg Monroe coming off the bench, Thon Maker playing small ball 5. Like, I question.
Isn't it what everybody wants? Is just more shooting? Like,
Yeah, I
They
think
need
that
depth,
might,
though.
That might be.
That's his overall depth.
That
Yeah.
could be really what it is the best shooter available on the market, regardless of position.
couple
Because-
really good Bucks questions here. Gennaro on Facebook. What can we expect from Maker this year?
That's a question
I
for small ball.
I expect more. I mean, for sure, he didn't do much last year. I
He
think
looked
he'll be
great
a
in the
lot
play. Like,
better.
I was
Yeah.
surprising in the playoffs against the Raptors. Like,
I mean, like,
he was an impact.
So I was talking the Bucks. They came to Dallas last year. Jason Jet Terry said Don Maker next Kevin Garnett. He told me. I said, Jet, are you kidding me right now? And he goes, I'm dead serious. Next Kevin Garnett.
Thon was better as a
did
rookie
he
than
then do the
anybody could have
airplane and
expected.
fly away?
Here's another Bucks question that I want to throw your way. Simon on YouTube, is Kidd a good coach? With the amount of talent they've had, they really underperformed over the last couple seasons.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think you can actually flip that the other way. These are young guys. Some of them are
Yeah.
still learning to play basketball.
Kid's a good coach.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he was like, you know what? I want to see Giannis handle the ball.
That
That
was-
in
yeah.
itself, he's a good coach. Just the fact that he would see that and be like, we're going to try this.
I would say too, leaving Brooklyn to go to Milwaukee was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
funniest that's ever happened in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna leave Brooklyn to go coach Giannis. Like, oh, what a terrible situation I put myself into.
We do need to take a quick second to talk about Kevin's shirt. So
Here we go.
this is new because it shows it's Diesel Giannis. Right?
Diesel.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at these. Look at these things.
Is Giannis too swole?
No.
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 No, can you be too swole?
Unless it affects his shooting. Unless
Yeah,
like,
we
there's-
try
there's,
to
like,
shoot anyway.
muscle
Yeah,
tension.
that's different.
I mean, that's the only way. It's a problem.
I want to see Giannis play some 5 small ball, but like, yeah, look at these
You
arms.
love small
Look
ball.
at
these.
these linebackers.
Look at these
I know.
things.
Vance on Facebook, Jason, is this the year we truly see Dark Giannis?
Yes.
Dark Giannis. What is this? I've
Dark
never heard this.
Giannis was a theory I had back in the Grantland days, back when Giannis first emerged and he was drinking, he had that smoothie video.
he's so nice.
I love
okay.
smoothies.
I'm a meme.
I'm a meme. And he was so happy, and I was like, this is great, but wait until he gets like meme.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
the
that's
turn?
when the turn.
I mean,
and
we're
that
all- here we
happened.
go.
And that happened,
it.
you know, like when he checked Mike Dunleavy Jr. like into
yeah,
the stands.
that's
Remember that?
right,
That was like
yeah.
the emergence.
Still one of the great moments in Eastern Conference playoffs.
That was really great.
Yes.
And I think like what we've seen over the last season is really the emergence, the full emergence of Dark Young.
It's like Katie said, he could become the best someday.
If he gets like a passable 3-point shot, it's over.
One last
I
one.
would say our Danny Chow picked him to win MVP this year.
This year.
Yeah, Danny Chow.
Danny Chow also loves Dante Exum.
Couple other social
Hey.
questions. Expert Frowner on Twitter. Am I crazy for thinking the Bucks have a final shot? If Giannis takes the next step and gets a jumper, who stops them?
LeBron.
Okay.
I don't think that's crazy.
Ross on Facebook. If you're the Bucks, what's your best case scenario for Jabari Parker? Is he trade bait?
I think the best case is he gets healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you want him to
With
get
his
healthy.
knees,
I'm glad we talked about the Bucks so much.
Yeah.
I love the Bucks.
They're
All right,
fine.
let's
Bucks
keep
too.
it moving. This four, the same four it's been for the last couple of years. We go number 4, the Toronto Raptors. The newly modernized Toronto Raptors.
What does that even mean?
That means that they're like
They shot like
If you guys heard about Maury Ball? You guys heard about shooting threes?
53% of their shots in preseason came from 3-point range.
Congratulations.
Pretty
is that
unreal.
most in the league?
Houston was at 59%, I believe.
So
Yeah.
is that going to work? Is there?
I
So
mean,
Toronto
they don't
is
have a lot of
basically
shooters.
has been traditionally over the last couple of years a very good regular season offense. Then they get into the playoffs and everything runs through DeMar and Kyle, and
Right.
everybody knows it. And one of them gets, Kyle usually is pretty banged up by the time he gets to the playoffs, and then they shut them down. And even though they have a great home crowd, and I like the swagger Masai brings to that team, where they're just like, we'll take anybody on.
Right.
I admire their dedication to continuity, I guess, but I mean, would you think maybe
Now that is an underwhelming thing.
I admire their dedication to continuity.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with winning 48 to 50
Yeah.
games every single year. That's nice. At the same time, like I really need to, I need to see it happen over the course of the season.
And
It's
it's-
like we're in year 4 of DeMar DeRozan being like, oh, I guess I should shoot.
Oh yeah,
threes.
Kevin, you think he shoots threes this year? That was your big article over the
Yeah.
summer. What's your take?
DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll
Do you
see.
think he makes it?
I mean, I think he's going to shoot more threes. And
Well, he didn't shoot any last
He's-
year.
yeah,
as
that's
as
what he's
long
been
as he
saying.
shoots like 30%, it is statistically more valuable than what
You know
he
what I
does
actually
from
like
mid-range.
when we saw a little bit of DeMar in the Harden playmaker role.
That was
And
good.
that was pretty cool. I love it when the guy who's the number one
Yeah.
scoring option has also got the ball in his hands and can draw attention and find.
So basically, more Harden, less Kobe for him. for
yeah,
DeMar.
kind of. Yeah. Okay, Toronto. There's not a ton to say about them. Is there anybody on Toronto that you think could take a leap on their roster? I mean, I feel like we've been talking about Jonas.
I think
for
they have a lot of guys that
years.
could, and that's why, like, coming into this year, like, when I wrote they should blow it up, I mean, the idea was they should blow it up after they come into their season and run it back to see if guys take a leap. Whether it's DeRozan,
I guess
takes
Norman
a leap,
Powell's
Norman
the
Powell
guy.
takes a leap,
Yeah.
or OG Anunoby is a guy who is way better than people expect. Who knows? I mean, they could end up looking better than we expect.
How many years away is Bruno Caboclo now?
This is supposed to be the year, right?
This
So
is
this
the
is
year.
year 4. Right?
Yeah, it's a leap year, so you have to add that in.
Okay.
Number 3 here is the Washington Wizards. And just the same way that you guys had some issues with my rankings, I have some issues with my rankings because I'm really high on the
Wait,
Wizards.
who's their bench this year? I do need to look this up because I did
Come on,
not
man,
know.
don't worry
that.
about benches.
No, but seriously, who is on their
No,
bench? this year?
well, I mean, their bench this year, they got a couple of guys. Let me
Tim
look
Frazier,
that up.
backup point guard.
He's
I still-
okay.
They have Tim Frazier.
Did they really get? I mean, he was the big ad.
Tim Frazier.
Tim Frazier and Jody Meeks for their big ads.
Yeah, and I think, but this is, we were just talking about continuity for the Raptors. I just think that there is another level for Beal and Wall to go to, and I think typically with Scott Brooks, these things run in like 3 to 4 year cycles where he gets the best out of these guys before maybe his lack of offensive imagination kicks in.
I think that Brooks, it remains to be seen with his lack of offensive imagination, how much of that was Russell Westbrook, no shots.
I know,
and I think that
not his agent.
I agree that Beal has another level to go to, but I really think the X factor is Porter, like how much how
much better he can be.
How much better he can be, and can he really continue the trajectory he's on? Wall is already great.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre as well.
He's the guy.
If he's somebody who is able to elevate and become like their maybe 5th best player, even if it's coming off the bench, I mean, I think that would really set them apart.
Incredible hair.
Yeah,
Incredible
great
hair.
It's actually, the Porter thing is a low-key, is one of these fascinating stories where it's like they really couldn't afford to lose him from a talent level if they weren't going to be a destination for any of the major superstars that moved last summer. And so in that case, they had to re-sign him. Now we're going to find out whether he's like drastically overpaid. I mean, I really enjoy his game, but he might not be good enough to be their third option.
I just worry like they have like 4 good players again. I worry it's the exact same thing. Like I don't really believe in Tim Frazier and Jody Meeks like against the Celtics or the Cavs. I just don't believe in those guys.
And plus with Otto Porter, like he had a year where he shot like 44% from 3, but then like every other year of his career, it's like
that was the
quite
outlier.
low.
The Not Famous Andy on Twitter asks, what move do the Wizards need to make to rival the Cavs and the Celtics?
DeMarcus Cousins. That's the move that's
So
out there.
what would they have to do to
Otto
put together
Porter
a
for
Joe
package?
House
Cousins.
moaning
Porter
somewhere.
and Oubre for
Is
Cousins.
New Orleans like, if you call and you're like, guess what? Otto Porter.
And Oubre.
And Oubre.
I don't know. They don't have much else to offer.
Do they make picks?
I guess
I
they have.
mean, if you're New Orleans, I think I forget. Like, there's maybe Chris Vernon might have talked about this. Is like if Boogie is about to leave or like New Orleans stinks. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like you just said, Otto Porter, because then you get security if you're New Orleans. You get a guy locked up for the next 4 years. So I think that makes some logical sense.
That to me would be a really interesting team. Boogie and Wall, get them back together. At least that's fun. That'd be really fun.
That's also like low key one of those last chance red flags where it's like, well, what if we pair him with the guy you went to college with?
Yeah, right. I love that. Brian from MAO&A asks, why does everyone overrate John Wall?
What? Wow.
I think we're a John Wall believing.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
the force of the tape.
I'll say
blowing
this.
me
I mean,
up.
his half-court scoring efficiency still isn't terrific. I mean,
Are you Brian?
I just tweeted that somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Wall actually went second in our point guard draft.
I love John Wall.
I think John Wall is
He's amazing.
fantastic.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're John Wall believers.
Jose
There's no time for
asks on
this.
Facebook, who will have a higher career ceiling, Oubre or Porter?
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Higher ceiling, will he reach it? Who knows?
Much lower floor, though.
Yeah.
Much lower floor.
Daniel Daly says, Scott Brooks is Billy Donovan. What? I've never seen them both in the same
I mean,
picture.
they are both white.
Billy Donovan has a very distinct Vegeta-like hairline.
Yes, he does.
Scott Brooks is
This is a
not.
solid one. He goes Billy Donovan. I like that. That's a solid pronunciation.
All right, moving on from Washington, and you guys can hit us up at #NBAPalooza on Twitter, @Ringer on Twitter, in Facebook, in YouTube. Thanks for watching the NBA Previewpalooza. Last 2 teams
Here we
here.
go.
Boston
Kevin O'Connor.
Celtics.
Boston Celtics,
Boston
number
Celtics.
2. That's fair.
Do you think that the Boston Celtics will actually be the best regular season team in the Eastern Conference?
I mean, there's a chance. I think it's either going to be them or Cleveland for sure.
I mean, I know there's a chance.
I love the way Kevin O'Connor tries to pretend like he's not like the fucking Celtics and destroy everybody. You can see it. You see him wanting to say it, but he's like, well, I think there's a chance that the Celtics don't steamroll the East. I don't know.
Where I did get like that was yesterday when Chris said I was wishy-washy on Kyrie before. It's like, dude, I was blowing this guy up in the finals. One of the best isolation scorers in the league,
So,
which he is.
how long do you think, in terms of clicking with this new roster, playing for Brad's system, all that stuff, is there going to be any hiccup in the development of this team?
There's absolutely a chance that there is, and that's why I think Cleveland could really be the number 1 seed. However, I do think we saw them click pretty well in preseason.
Yeah.
Despite having a new look roster, the thing is like there wasn't as much cohesiveness with like some of the plays they typically run like there was last year when those guys played together for a couple of years. So maybe they will have issues early in the season. And like with any new look team, whether it's the Rockets or the Thunder or the Celtics, you can't overblow like when they get off to a slow start.
Okay, here's my question for you. So last year, the leaders of that team were probably Crowder and Isaiah. Who's the leader in Boston now? Who's like the guy who runs that locker room?
I mean, just because a guy was a leader doesn't mean it was right.
It's Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie's the leader of that team?
Kyrie's going to try to be the leader of the team, which is the danger.
That locker room has a guy who leads by example in Al Horford. They have maybe the guy who becomes the vocal guy, and that's Kyrie, who gets guys together.
So that's
and
good.
Brad is the real leader. Though,
Mario on
Brad Stevens.
YouTube asks, does the Al Horford effect lead to Irving and Hayward each having their highest points per game season?
I don't know about points per game, but maybe their most efficient seasons there. And I think Al Horford is the guy who. Isaiah Thomas was unbelievable, the progress he made individually, but Horford really helped him elevate to the next level, having the spacing at the 5. I know, Tjarks, how much like you and I talk about that before.
Yeah.
Like having spacing at the 5 really can change things for your whole team.
Dan Keene on Facebook, please explain who is going to rebound, play interior defense, or push their locker room in the January doldrums on Boston. They will not win as many games as last year and might very well get knocked out in round 1.
I like the first part of that question, but that's a really even stronger take. than
Yeah,
the
because
second question.
they were getting destroyed in the interior in the playoffs, right?
By Tristan Thompson?
Yeah, rebounding has consistently a problem for this team.
Yeah.
That said,
They did add Aaron Baines.
Baines.
Rather than Amir Johnson, whose ankles are completely toast.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Joel on YouTube, is Al Horford the most important player on the Celtics? What happens if he goes out for 2 months? That'll be very interesting.
Kyrie
They
Irving.
don't have a lot of interior. No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Utopia on YouTube. How long do you think it takes for the Celtics to realize they should have taken Lonzo
Nice,
with the first
I like
pick
it.
and not made the Kyrie
They
trade?
could have had Lonzo and Kuzma, right, on the same team.
I know.
It's like we talked about in the redraft yesterday. I just think with Lonzo, you would need to consider the fact that they were trying to put him in LA, period. Lonzo wouldn't talk to the Celtics, wouldn't work out for the Celtics, so why would you draft a guy that you can't interview, work out, get medical
Look at
on?
how
You just
mad
don't do
he's
it.
getting.
How dare you not talk to the Celtics?
And that applies for
What about the staged photograph of Fultz in the Celtics locker room, like staring at a mural of Bob Cousy, like, I'm home, and then the next day they're like, get out of here. All right,
That's why you bring guys in to interview them.
Number one, it's
saying.
the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a team that I am incredibly high on. Last night on Sources Say, Juliet and I were talking about this interview that Dwayne Wade and LeBron James did with Rachel Nichols. Great. It is dope to see them back together again.
great.
They seem very, very
Wake up
happy
the
with one another.
echoes.
Yeah.
LeBron seems happy. They have a lot of guys playing with a lot of chips on their shoulder. Even within the team, J.R. Smith getting sent to the bench in favor of Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose basically being written out of NBA history as like an effective player. I don't know. I think that these guys have everything to play for. I also think we're going to see a team that's much more like mid to late period Miami, where they're not going to go hard every night. They know what the prize is at the end.
Yeah.
I think the regular season is their training camp.
Yep.
How are you feeling about the
We
Cavs?
forgot Jeff Green. I mean, the list of ships. How many guys in that team need to prove themselves? Like, it's going to be wild.
Jeff Green, by the way, in the preseason did the ultimate Jeff Green trademark, which is he had a great dunk
Yes.
on a guy that papers over the fact that Jeff Green sucks.
Yes. Jeff Green will give
KG
you
once
one
said he can
dunk
become
in
the
your
greatest
career.
ever. Just saying.
Kevin,
Wait, KG said that?
KG said that, yeah.
on
That is
Twitter,
awesome.
Vanilla Walla
That's
asks,
amazing.
this is the last season for LeBron at Cleveland and the last time we might see them in the finals if he does leave. So this could be the end of an era for Cleveland.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the last time we see LeBron in the finals.
Yeah,
No,
what is it?
Cavs, the Cavs,
Cavs. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe if he does leave, that's certainly going to be the last time until he returns when he's like 38 and still the same player he is today.
One of the
Don't
most
ask too many questions about that.
interesting sort of subplots to keep your eye on this year, and Michael on YouTube brings this up. Who can the Cavs get at midseason with that Brooklyn pick that makes them a threat for the Warriors? This is really fascinating.
I feel like there's no way they move that pick, though.
Yeah, do you want to move that pick?
There's
I
no
mean, they
way.
have to
You
get
should
After
not.
what happened last time
Yeah,
when LeBron
LeBron's
left,
leaving. You
there's
have to keep
there's
that.
no
You have
way
to
they're
hold
going to
on to
move it.
Even if LeBron stays, maybe it
Yeah,
makes more
they're the
financial
oldest
sense
team in the league.
with the cap to draft the guy and have him on a lower salary.
Yeah.
We have a couple other social questions from just generally Matthew Robinson. How many East teams would get into the
good
Western
question.
Conference playoffs? This is a great question. I definitely would say Cleveland and Boston and
Yes.
Washington. And
Toronto. Yeah.
But the Bucks
Well,
make the
but
Western
all-
Conference playoffs?
like if we move all four of them to the East, or
Yeah.
like if each one team moved to the
Yeah,
East?
it's just the
Yeah.
one
We got a
team win.
16-team playoff, maybe?
Let's
or-
just say
Okay.
for like a second we're just realigning, and these guys like all of a sudden. So would Cleveland, if Cleveland was in the West,
Yes.
the West
They
is
would in. They'd
Yes,
Yeah, they get in.
Boston in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would Washington make the playoffs?
Yeah.
In the West.
I think like the 8 seed in the West isn't super strong. I mean, you're talking about like the 6 seed when it gets like there's no way, but like
Yeah.
8 and 7 are not like these world-beating teams.
Yeah, they're just like Portland and Washington are not. Like,
Yeah, they're not, it's not a huge difference.
And I think
in
Milwaukee
quality.
would make it because I think Milwaukee does have.
I think they'd be kind of in the Portland class, maybe.
Yeah, they'd be
Yeah.
fighting for an 8 seed.
And then below that, like Miami,
No.
Charlotte, Philly, none of these
no.
teams make the Western Conference playoffs. All right, some more general questions. The East, this is from It's Me, Matt. The East is basically Liga 1 in France.
Wow.
With that in mind, so that's basically a reference to PSG being like so good in French football. The East is basically Liga 1. With that in mind, what's more likely, Cavs to win the title or PSG
All right,
to win
soccer
the Champions
guys, I don't
League?
even know what that means.
I think it's PSG to win the Champions League at this point.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I picked the Cavs, but I think PSG is looking really good.
Yeah, I guess PSG. I guess you're right, PSG. At the same time, it's like, you know, the Cavs, I guess, are kind of owned by like a weird, like shadowy,
Yeah,
like
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, the
shadowy
mogul
state.
of Detroit. Yeah,
One
whatever's
last
going on
question
over
here
there.
from Jimmy Payne. Does the Warriors, or do the Warriors change how LeBron views this season? Is an MVP more achievable than resting for a championship? So
That's
I
an interesting
think-
question, I guess.
Like,
Yeah.
what's,
I never thought
like,
about
what's,
that.
I don't think so.
yeah,
He's got. He's going to go for it.
I still think LeBron is all about winning a title and trying to become the greatest player of all time, the undisputed greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, he's going to need to win more titles.
I think it would actually help. I think that the regular season is going to be more important. I mean, I know I said that they'll probably rest guys. They'll probably take their time to get into it. But I do think that if they go into the postseason and half the team has like nagging injuries and they're just not playing their best basketball, it's not going to leave a really great taste in LeBron's mouth. But if they go into the postseason and all these guys are hungry for it, they might think like, you know what? Let us get a shot at the.
Well, the thing is, like, the Warriors always get injured, right? You get to the finals, maybe Steph gets hurt again, maybe KD gets hurt, and the game totally changes.
They could lose one of those guys still, and it's still.
But they at least have a chance.
Yeah.
The thing about the Cavs roster this year that's different is last year when they were kind of dragging, they could still look at their roster and go, okay, we know what we do. With this roster, it's like there's a lot of
we
things.
jack shots.
There's a lot of things to work out, and it's going to be more meaningful when they struggle during the regular
Well, that's
season.
the East, man. Nothing is very clear. All right, let's wrap this up. So to count back up from 15, at 15 we had the Hawks, 14 the Nets, 13 the Magic, 12 the Knicks, 11 the Bulls, 10 the Pacers, 9 the Pistons, and then the playoff teams at 8 Philadelphia, at 7 Charlotte, at 6 Miami, at 5 Milwaukee, 4 Toronto, 3 Washington, 2 Boston, 1, as always, the Cleveland Cavaliers. For Jason Concepcion, Kevin O'Connor, Jonathan Tjarks, I'm Chris Ryan. Stick around. Tons more NBA Previewpalooza coming up. We'll be here all day leading you up to Boston versus Cleveland.